Hey everybody, Morgana Galaxia here. Welcome back to my channel. I want to get on today because actually a viewer asked me a question, asked me to look at Poland. So I'm going to look at Poland, and basically I want to look at some of the countries in the area, right, that's around Ukraine and how they're faring, what might be happening to them. So, Poland, a lot of people there are nervous that they might be next. I don't really think this is likely, but I know someone who expressed some concern over East Germany. I have a relative living over there in the former East Germany, and so, how's East Germany going to do? I want to take a look at Belarus, and if I didn't say it already, Moldova, because the Belarusian president, Lukashenko, accidentally kind of gave Russia's hand away when he showed a map of the battle, or a map of the conflict, and it looked like Moldova might have been next. So let's take a look at some of those nations. And I want to start with Poland, okay? So Poland was a part of the Soviet bloc, but now they are NATO. They are NATO. So, due to Article 5, if Putin even steps 1 inch into Poland, all of NATO is going to come and respond, right? So, Poland seems to be pretty safe. But let's take a look at how will Poland get caught up? Well, how do we want to ask this? Because, okay, will Russia or Putin attempt to invade Poland? Will Russia, aka Putin, let's say, attack Poland? Will Poland be attacked by Putin? Okay. Poland, will they be attacked by Putin? All right, let's take a look. So the question is representing, or I should say Poland is representing here as the Page of Wands. This is about communication. So I'm feeling definitely maybe, it's communication with other NATO members. Attention is being paid to them. They're not on the back burner right now. They're sort of front and center in everything that's going on between Ukraine and Russia, because Poland's right there. They're getting a lot of refugees. All eyes are on them, especially because of that airstrike that was really near the Polish border. So I just feel like there's a lot of attention on Russia. Poland. Eyes are on Poland. Attention's on Poland. I think that gives them a little safety zone. Okay, so it's not like Putin can do anything and surprise them or do anything that nobody's going to notice, right? There's a lot of communication there and attention paid on Poland. Their challenge, ouch, is the devil. So obviously that's Putin and Putin's Russia right now, being the aggressor with this war. So this is telling us their challenge is, okay, obviously their challenge is Putin and Russia, but more so than that, it is maybe fear, right? Fear, feeling like they're, when the devil card shows up, you can feel like you're enslaved, like you've lost your will, your will, your freedom of movement, that you're being suppressed and oppressed. So I would say the challenge for Poland, they did used to be part of the Soviet bloc, okay? So I guess I would say in one aspect their challenge is maybe Putin's got an eye towards them. If he really does want to reconstitute the Soviet Union, he's going to be looking at them. But it could just be the history there. I don't know if Poland hates Russia, but as a former Soviet bloc nation, they understand what Russia's all about. They know about the suppression. They know about the propaganda. They know about the closed borders, the Iron Curtain, the fist, right? The Iron Fist. They are very aware of what Russia is, and that's always going to be a challenge to them. Russia and Putin themselves and their history is telling them, you know, I don't want to say Russia's the devil, because that's the peoples. I wouldn't say that about them, but just that expansionism, the wanting to always have that Soviet empire, right? Their expansionist tendencies, and it's always about the oppression and the suppression and closing the borders and getting rid of the media, right? That just that evilness. So this is Poland's challenge, which means either Putin might be making them nervous, or just their memory of being a part of the Soviet Union in some way continues to hinder them, or their former tie to the Soviet Union is leaving them vulnerable. So I would think most likely that's what it is. Their former ties and closeness with Russia is leaving them vulnerable. They've got the memories of what that means. And in my spread here, interestingly, in my spread, you could see how this is looking away from the devil. So yeah, they're trying to leave that behind them, look forward to NATO, look forward to, closer ties with Europe and the West. They're trying to leave that behind. And Putin's kind of maybe throwing a wrench in that, making it a little difficult, bringing up bad memories, right? With the last card, the end result, we have the Ace of Swords here. So I'm definitely getting the feeling, the traditional meaning of this card of victory. So it's definitely, creativity, intellectual thinking, ideas, conceptual thinking, just that mental realm. But really it comes down to, if you're going to fight a battle, if you're going to fight a war, victory is yours. So what I'm getting for Poland here basically is that, no, I don't think they have to worry about a direct attack. Well, gosh, there's ways you can read this, right? Is the devil coming to attack them? He is presenting as the challenge here. And because this guy's looking away, he's looking away, trying to, put Russia past them, they might be vulnerable to a surprise attack, okay? Looking away, paying attention to the West. Here comes the devil sneaking up behind you, blam, with an attack. But that's a possibility. But my intuition and my interpretation of this reading here is that instead of being an attack, this is Poland being able to just be victorious and cutting that enemy loose. Yeah, Russia did their thing with Poland a long time ago. It's in their history. It's in their mind and in their thinking and in their culture and history. But they're turning away from that. They want to be towards the European Union. And this is telling me, I really am getting the more positive vibration of this card, of victory, of sovereignty here. So I think they're going to be able to maintain their sovereignty, but this does indicate that there is going to be, there could be some action from Putin here. We're going to have to hit it again. We're going to have to hit Poland again at a later time, because yeah, that devil is very suspicious, shall we say that, especially with the sword. Okay, but for now, I'm going with they're okay. Okay. So let's look at the country of Moldova. So I don't believe they're part of NATO. I thought they were at first, but I later found out, no, they're not a part of NATO. They're just this teeny tiny little country. They're probably one of the poorest nations in Europe. They're really struggling. And they're just teeny excuse me, teeny tiny, and they're right there, and they showed up on Lukashenko's map, and they probably crapped a brick when they saw that on the TV. So, what is going on with Moldova? Will Putin attack Moldova? Will Putin attack Moldova? And the idea, I believe, was that he was going to go with Belarus into Moldova and kind of attack that nation together, jointly. That's what the map that Lukashenko showed kind of indicated. But since that has happened, you might know that Lukashenko has come out and said that he doesn't plan on participating in this war. Now, you may know that Russia's trying to instigate that. He lobbed a missile over into Belarus from Ukraine, you know, basically trying to give Belarus an excuse to come in and attack Ukraine. Even though I think Lukashenko would probably know exactly what that was all about. And he didn't bite, you know. I kind of get the feeling he might have pre-planned that with Putin in advance. I'm going to lob this missile. You'll have the okay to come into Ukraine. Boom, we'll take them out, roll into Moldova. But, you know, things aren't working out for Russia. So, Belarus isn't biting. How's Moldova? Are they going to suffer an attack, or will they kind of be left alone here? So that's where I'm going. Moldova, the tiny little nation of Moldova. Will they be next? Also formerly a part of the Soviet Empire. Okay, Moldova. So they're presenting as a 3 of Cups. So this is about celebratory, you know, celebrating with your friends. So they're celebrating right now with their friends, who I'm going to call NATO. So I think that I'm starting to feel like, because that happened with Lukashenko and we saw that image on TV, there's probably already some communication going on with their leaders. Like, we saw that, acknowledging that. They're not NATO. So, like Ukraine, NATO won't be able to go in directly and defend them, but they must have been reassured. That's where I'm getting here. I think that NATO people came in, reassured them. We've got your back. We'll do whatever for you, like we're doing for Ukraine. You know, just this is all about support of your friends. So, Moldova is feeling they're being embraced in that support that NATO is giving Ukraine. I think they're making overtures to Moldova. Okay, their challenge with the 6 of Swords. So this is, you know, kind of taking what you can and getting out. I'm thinking one challenge here might be they might be having a lot of refugees coming from Ukraine, taking what they can and escaping over into Moldova. The challenge for Moldova might be some of those refugees. This could also, I feel like, if they were called to fight, they have limited resources. I think this is really just saying Moldova's challenge would be really that they're not part of NATO. So again, overtures by NATO. We got your back. We'll offer our friendship to you. You know, you have our support. The challenge is this is kind of going it alone. So they're not a member state. They can't be directly defended. They might have to sort of take what they have available to them and either head into battle. If this is heading into battle, it would be on the water, some sort of water scenario, or maybe people are leaving Moldova, fleeing. But there's some travel here. There are people who are taking what they have, and there's movement. So with the end result, we have the King of Swords. So this would be their sovereignty, their president or prime minister or whatever they have, their governmental system is what I'm feeling with that, and their military. The sword is definitely military. So I feel like they're going to be backed up by NATO. There's people coming to support them. Their leadership and their military are going to, with this king, be able to take a strong position. They're not going to just be rolled over. As far as their challenge goes, I'm just thinking refugees, people fleeing. So whether that's incoming from Ukraine or outgoing from Moldova in fear, there's some movement, some travel there. But all in all, I think that they're being able to stand firm. That's what I'm getting from Moldova. Okay, so let's move on to Germany. So, you know, before the fall of the Berlin Wall, right? We know there was West Germany, which was part of Europe, and East Germany, which was communist, you know, part of the bloc. But, you know, under Reagan, that wall fell, Germany was united, and, you know, it's been great for Germany, but I can understand how some Germans might be a little nervous about, you know, being attacked as well. If NATO stays weak and doesn't really want to, you know, fight Putin and just kind of let him roll around as he sees fit, will he make his way over back to East Germany? It's hard to imagine. Germany's the strongest European country, strong government, nuclear power, wealthy. So I'm really, you know, I doubt it, but someone did express a concern, so I'm going to take a look. All right. Germany, will Germany or East Germany be attacked by Putin? Will East Germany be attacked by Putin? Will Germany be attacked by Putin? Okie dokie. Okay, so we're starting off here, Ten of Pentacles. They got a big war chest. Like I said, they're very wealthy. They've got a lot of money. It would be very difficult to attack them unless Putin wants to do it economically, okay? So if there is any vulnerability, it would be through economics. Their challenge, ooh, is a death card. So transformation. A harsh end and transformation. And with the Eight of Swords here, we have anxiety, fear, being bound up, restricted really by your own actions. It's your own way of thinking, your own way of seeing things, right? Your own behaviors that have led to your ensnarement, right? And possible detention in jail is often what this card is, especially when I get it for Trump. But for East Germany, so yeah, I think they're going to take an economic hit. So we know that all these sanctions are devastating Russia, and they've said that they will respond in like kind. And, you know, I'm thinking this Nord Stream 2 pipeline, maybe that was a particular affront to Putin, because that was going to go through Germany. So here's the money, here's their wealth, and, you know, their challenge is a transformation of that, a harsh ending of that. And they're going to be left with high anxiety. So I'm feeling, yeah, an economic hit. Putin is going to try and show some retribution to Germany, probably because the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, sanctions, what have you. He's going to hit them somehow, is what I'm getting from that reading right there. I see that as a economic and financial attack that will do some damage. I mean, that death card's a harsh ending before a new transformative beginning. So it could very well be, you know, one of the things Europe is really talking about now is transitioning away from Russian oil. And this is something Germany's always focused on and been good at, is green technology. And they're really passionate and involved in the climate change and just climate action, right? Trying to better their infrastructure around energy. So I think that that harsh ending and new beginning has to do with their energy consumption. That harsh ending is that Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and really just saying, you know what, we had this path we were going to go down with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, cheap Russian oil. They were going to do that. And now that maybe, because of some problems with Russia, you know, beyond what's going on with Ukraine, if they try and hit Germany with some sanctions or some other sort of retribution in the economic arena, I think what's going to happen is that Germany is going to see the kind of end and transformation of their path down in the energy sector, right? I'm sorry I'm speaking so clearly today, but I think you get what I mean. This is all about energy for Germany. Goodbye Russian gas. Hello renewables, wind, solar, hopefully not nuclear, whatever they're going to do. They're going to have to transform their energy sector so they can end that relationship with Russia and be more self-sustaining. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for Germany. Oh, Belarus. Yeah, I want to look at Belarus. So Lukashenko, Alexander Lukashenko is their president, and he's a Russian puppet, all right? He's been super close with Putin for ages and ages. And yeah, he just like, oh, you want to attack Ukraine from, you know, across our borders? Sure. Oh, you want us to help you roll Moldova? Sure. You know, this guy, before Russia invaded Ukraine, you know, in the past year, there's been some articles about him. He was the one there was a Belarusian journalist who was on a flight, and that airplane passed over Belarus, and Lukashenko grounded that plane just to pull that journalist off the plane and imprison him. So that was a huge deal in the news within the last year or so. So it's an authoritarian regime, and I think that Russia was planning for this to be a joint war with them, but they're kind of stepping on the back foot, right? So let's take a look at Belarus. Belarus. What's going on with Belarus? Is Belarus going to enter this war? Is Belarus going to engage in this war? Will Belarus engage in this war? Okay. One more. Belarus. Show us Belarus. All right. So we're starting off here with the Four of Wands. So this is about family structure, stability. And it's generally a really good card. So right now I'm going to say sort of Belarus is stable, okay? They have a fairly strong structure. They might not want to be messing that up. All their families are intact and whole. They haven't really had any, right, deaths and no death, no destruction. Their families are intact. Their structure's intact. They're kind of, I don't want to say in a good place because they're under an authoritarian government, but they're whole, okay? Their challenge is the Ace of Pentacles. So the challenge here, this is all about money, your resources. So this would tell me that their challenge is, maybe they're a poor nation. They don't have a lot of economic opportunity or a lot of economic infrastructure in place. There's not a lot of opportunity for them. They're just economically disadvantaged. This is what I'm getting here. And, that happens a lot under an authoritarian regime. They take all the money, move it up, right? So all these presidents can have their multiple palaces while the people starve. So financial opportunity, prosperity, economic gains, these are the challenges for Belarus. Their outcome is the Wheel of Fortune. So that means their fortunes will be changing. Now, considering our opening card has been the security that they're currently enjoying right here, their fortunes are going to be changing. So I think I don't see a warfare card or an attack card, any kind of battle card here. We do have money, so I would say that their fortunes are going to be changing, most likely economically, and I think we have heard that sanctions are being levied against Belarus as well. Not as much as Russia, because Belarus hasn't directly attacked Ukraine, but because they allowed those troops over the border, because they are close to Putin, yeah, they're coming under some sanctions, and I think those sanctions are either going to tighten, they're going to grow, something's going to happen where the stability they're enjoying right now is going to be changing. So I think it's going to be an economic hit. So sanctions, that's what I'm seeing for Belarus, is they're going to be dealing with sanctions on their nation that are going to harm their economy, destabilize their nations, destabilize their peoples, and, just those families that make up a country, So, okay, you guys, that is really all I wanted to do today. Just take a look at some of those surrounding nations. So I really appreciate you visiting my channel. I'm definitely be back on in a couple more days to, I don't know, probably look at Ukraine and Russia and Putin again, or Biden or something, or unless something else happens, right? So until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye, everybody.